All right, so this is kind of a special meeting tonight, out of character for us. We're here tonight to discuss an error that we found in the tax calculation form. But we're also going to have a public forum, so I don't know if anybody in the public has anything not related to the tax error. Come to the table and speak. If not, we can move right into discussion.
Yeah, let's add the payroll warrant to the agenda.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
So other than that, alteration, anything else with the agenda? See a motion to approve that?
So move.
All those in favor? All right, Mr. Manager, can you bring us up to speed here?
Yes, sir. On Wednesday of this past week, the tax assessor, the tax assessor and the deputy treasurer came into my office and indicated that when we placed the calculation form together, we erroneously miscalculated the revenue on line 13 of the form, which you approved with your vote on August 14th. In essence, what we did is that the form requires that our revenue sharing, state revenue sharing, appears on line 12 of the form, and we're supposed to remove it from line 13 of the form when we set the calculations. The line 13 did not get changed; it remained. So, in essence, we have indicated on the form that we're going to be collecting $570,370 more dollars than we actually are going to collect. So, a couple other things have happened. Obviously, we've set the tax rate at $17 per thousand. With that tax rate, we've sent tax bills out. I spoke to MMA today. If we desired to, we could abate all those taxes, recommit the taxes based on a new mill rate. Or we can utilize, in my view, it would be to our benefit to utilize anticipated revenue that we have or fund balance money that we have in order to adjust the rate so it remains at $17 a thousand, as opposed to, if we had to do go back, we'd be closer to $18 based on my calculations and the overall value that we presently have in the community. If you recall back when we passed the annual town meeting warrant, provided you the ability of using $500,000 from fund balance in order to set the tax rate. That still would leave us $70,370 short to meet our projection to keep our $17 mill rate. It would be my view that we would take and request have this board approve a special town meeting and go to the voters and request that they allow the board to use the balance from fund balance in order to keep the rate at $17 a thousand. You do have a policy, undesignated fund balance policy. In it provides one of the things that you can use the fund balance for, which you have done on a historic basis, was to stabilize the mill rate at times of extraordinary tax increase projections or return excess undesignated funds to the taxpayer. So in the past, you've used this. Part of the policy also talks about that the town must keep at least 20% of what our approved expenses are in fund balance. Based on the approved expenses that we had this past town meeting, that would require us to keep $2,600,000 in our fund balance. Presently, our audited fund balance is $3,430,194. We just recently collected, after this past fiscal year, unaudited, another $928,215.63, which presently gives us an unaudited fund balance of $4,358,408.63. So it'd be my view that that I would request that the board hold a special town meeting to allocate the funds through the fund balance in order to continue to have the rate at $17. Well, obviously, I take some responsibility. In fact, the buck stops with me. I take all the responsibility of the area that occurs that we have here tonight. I should have caught it when I reviewed the tax rate forms before they're being submitted to you. And my apologies, I did not catch it. I am happy that staff did bring it to our attention, that we get it early and that we can take some corrective action. The other thing that if you do nothing, it would require me, in my view, to reduce our municipal spending by that total amount in order to make that tax rate work. I'm totally opposed to asking for a rate increase after all the minutia that we've gone through. It would mean, you know, as I expressed, the abatement would have to come. We'd have to recommit taxes. We'd have to submit those back out, and the resident questions, and in my view, probably rightfully so, their anger that we didn't take care of this when we needed to, would be expressed, and I would not support that. So my thought is to go ahead and hold the town meeting, allocate the money.
So Keith, we've already got approval from the residents for the 500,000 allocation.
That is correct.
So I'm just speaking out loud here, but the 72, 300 that we're short.
Yep.
Why, instead of having a special town meeting, why can't we just, instead of shortening the entire budget by 572,000, why not just take 72,000 from, there's got to be a paving line item that we didn't use, or
rightfully, there could be a paving line. And, you know, if you recall, we set aside, I think it was 75,000 for the purchase of the ambulance for the first year of that. And if we get our paperwork back from Department of Economic Community Development, we won't be spending that 75,000. So that will certainly be there. But right now the numbers don't match. So I think it's, let's just play devil's advocate. If we had done it correctly, then that would have meant that I would have recommended that you spend the 500,000. You would have had to allocate that 70,370 to be collected as part of your tax collection, which would have added another between 12 and 13 cents to your tax rate. So you would have been at $17.12 instead of $17. So I just think it's clean to be honest with the public and tell them that we made an honest mistake, that the money is available. It's their money that we've collected, and we don't have to take any more taxes from them. And just,
I'm certainly not trying to cover this up by any means, but I'm
Right.
just trying to make it as easy as possible.
Right.
Instead of having another special town meeting.
Right. Well, the special town meetings, and we've had them in the past.
And nobody shows up is my
Yeah,
argument.
unfortunately, but we provide a week's notice. We have it here, and we conduct that business prior to one of your business meetings and straighten this issue out.
So doesn't that put us in a pretty tough spot for next year?
I'm not sure if it does or not. I had grandiose ideas of what I'd like to have done with some of that funding, but the reality is now set in, and that we have to use it to meet that. But we still have plenty of money in the fund balance. We will continue to have that money. Unaudited, if we spend the 570, we'll have 3,788,000 there. We have to earmark 2.6, so we've got 1.1 million of additional funding that we could use in flexibility, i.e. for a reval, if you so decide to do that. Plus other things, particularly things that we've talked about in the past, capital equipment purchases or CIP programs. So we may want to take some of that money and earmark it that way as well. So.
Yeah, it's just, you know, my concern is we're gonna use 500K this year just to kind of keep it at 17. And then, you know, we're already starting the year for next year. You know, I don't want to use 500K each year, you know, I mean, I don't think that's the right way to do business, right?
Yeah, in the past, we were at 300.
Yeah.
And then we went to, I think one year we went to 4. And this year we're at
We did
5.
100 last year.
Right, we had 104,000 that we used last year to set the rate.
Yeah, but with that said, Dan, we allocated 500,000 this year. We didn't anticipate using any of it.
No,
Now, I mean,
no, but now we have to use it and we're,
Right.
and those,
But I'm kind of with Jason, why am I gonna jump the gun and find out?
I agree. Put your mic on, Tom.
But we certainly can wait. I mean, there's no restrictions. We,
Balance stuff from funds that we're not expending.
correct,
Right.
right.
Why wouldn't we wait until tap into it? Or if we find out we're running up against, it, then we can have a special town meeting, right? Kind of with Jason.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, but to me, there's no rush for that 73K, right?
Right, that's fine. I mean, we can do that. It will just, again, we will continue to monitor it and we'll keep reporting to you to see where we are in terms of it. But, case in point, we're going to have almost close to $1 million based on unanticipated revenue we collected, plus the money that we saved from our operations, our budgets. So we should be in good shape and we can continue to monitor it. I would say probably 6 to 8 months into the year that we should be looking at that and then making a decision of where we need to be. But I have no objections to that. My purpose here was to tell you what happened and to provide that information to you, because I didn't want you to, come to you with 11 months left and tell you we're short.
So do we have a check and balance to make sure that something like this doesn't happen again? Because we had an issue last year too, right? We missed something, there was a mistake last year. Or maybe the year before. There was
No,
something that was-
I don't know. John and I disagree with the setting of the tax rate on several times. And we've talked about this, and I'm sure he'll weigh in, but we've talked about this revenue piece that comes from the state, that sometimes is a something that's a little bit different than you're used to seeing, that's for sure.
Keith and I have experienced over the years, all come back to line 30.
Yes.
Okay, what would really help going forward to prevent this happening again is that the tax assessor would give us a statement saying explicitly what he includes in line 30. Because all you get on the tax form is line 13, other revenue. What other revenue? And this is just about every year we keep an eye on the different number, we start looking at it with, it's because we can't reconcile line 13. And it really needs to be taken care of. Like I say, it would be very nice if the tax assessor would just give us a very clear statement as to what items she's including in line 13.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, I like the check and balance, when we're going through the budget, because it makes you look deep into it, and make sure that, and any way that we can make this better, so that something like this doesn't happen, because to me, this is a huge mistake, and, we can't let this stuff happen again.
Because of this ambiguity on line 13, and the chief is taking responsibility for this plan. It's an awful easy error to make, and when you hook your mouth on that line 13, there's nothing on the form that states where that figure comes from. And it's awfully easy to screw it up.
Yes, we'll most certainly do that. Yep.
Yeah.
That's all I have. So,
Well,
you know,
I mean, I'll make a motion that we use 500,000 out of our,
well, I thought we were gonna wait. Are we
What?
gonna wait for the whole
I think
amount?
just the 72, whatever the
Okay.
balance is.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Yeah.
so you'll
out
go
of
ahead
fund
and,
balance, use
okay.
500 out of fund balance.
okay, and then
And then
wait
the-
on the rest of it?
Right, exactly.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yep. That's my motion.
Do you even need a motion since it's the town approved us to?
Well, I think, yeah, we need a motion.
We should.
I mean, they've given you the approval to expend it for that purpose, so, yeah.
So motion by Dan.
Yep.
Second by Tom. Any other discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Thank you.
And then we've got an additional payroll warrant we gotta vote on. Second, motion by Velma, second by Dan. All those in favor? Anything else from the public after we've, no? Appreciate you guys coming out. This is the big, oh, come on up, if you wouldn't mind, up to the microphone.
Take your name, please.
There's a button on there that turns a green light on. And yeah, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Richard Ryder. I live at 22 Sunrise here in Arundel. And I appreciate you having this open discussion. I received a tax bill a few weeks ago with a huge increase, and I'm trying to understand whether the discussion you just had about the 500,000 plus is going to in turn cause my tax bill to decrease. It's not. No.
Nope.
Okay, so then I take it, I have I need to have a discussion with the assessor then
Correct.
about that.
Where is Sunrise?
In Cape Arundel Cottage
Oh,
Preserve.
it's in the cottages.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
okay.
Yeah, you'd have to have a discussion with the tax assessor. And if you disagree with the tax assessor, you have the ability to apply for an abatement to the value that's been placed on your property.
Okay, and so if we're going to return some of the money that was budgeted out of funds we already have, why wouldn't that lower my taxes for the year?
The two don't go together. What we did here was that we miscalculated the revenue. We should have anticipated that revenue already. That money has already been collected. Past taxes have been, is where that money's come from. It's either come from anticipated revenue unanticipated revenue that we thought, and or money that we saved from our operations budgets. And it then goes into a fund balance that stays there until the town meeting approves or the use of it.
Okay.
So that's where we are at this point.
If we wouldn't have done this and we'd have had to go and redo the taxes all over again, the mill rate would have gone up and your taxes would have gone up even more. So we did this to keep it flat from.
Understood. So this was based on previous tax monies and you're returning it from another fund to put it to cover what's in the budget for the coming year or for the year past?
Correct. The
Coming year.
future fiscal year. Yeah.
Yeah, every year we anticipate somewhere between 2.5 and 2.5 to 2.8 million that we collect as revenue. So when you come in and pay excise taxes, that money stays here. If you had a snowmobile or a boat, that money stays here. So that's part of the money that we collect. Our excise tax revenue for the town of Arundel is about $1.1 million. So we appreciate people registering their cars here.
Okay, got it. And my final question is if I think you said we're supposed to have 2.6 million or 2.4 million in that fund, that we now have 3.4 million.
Yes, somewhere in those neighborhoods, yes.
So why wouldn't that excess trigger a reduction in the tax rate rather than maintaining it $17?
Well, what we could do that during the selectmen's and the budget board's discussions, they could use more fund balance in order to curb the taxes. But it's a balance. We're trying to balance it the best we can. And quite frankly, some of the revenue that we've collected over the last several years has been significant, more than we had ever anticipated. So we were very conservative on the collection. So that's why we have that surplus.
I'm paying a pretty hefty tax to the
Sure.
county, to the town. And the increase of $900 this year was a little startling. And because the town is doing well, which I'm very proud and happy to see, and that's some of the things I love about Arundel. But to see that kind of a tax increase when you're now telling me we have a surplus of money is very concerning.
Well, you didn't really have a significant tax rate increase. You had an increase in your value of your property, whether it was building or land. And our taxes we went from $16.90 to $17. So we only went up 10 cents.
Correct.
And so your argument has to be on the value that's been
Sure. So did that increase in property values occur for everybody in Arundel?
It depends on what kind of review she did in terms of specific areas within the community. I know that we have discovered through the sales analysis in Arundel cottages that we have them, we're significantly low in terms of value there. And so I think that she was looking at the captured value with the land values there. That's what she was looking at. But you'd have to discuss that with her to know for sure.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you all.
Anything else? No? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn at 7:20 PM.
Motion by Dan. Second by Phil. All those in favor? Thank you all for coming.